I would love to share with you some sources for learning English independently, but before, you must know some information. And tonight, we will cover 4 topics. First, what do they mean saying, I speak English or I do not speak English? Second, which variant of English should I learn? Then, is it possible to learn the language by myself? And finally, we will consider 4 questions that drive a teacher crazy. Many people come to me and say, well, how long will it take me to speak English, to start speaking English, to learn English? And every time I get confused because I don't know what they mean when they say, speaking English. Because for someone, ordering food in a restaurant is speaking English, and for other people, 7.5 IELTS result is not speaking English yet. Common European Framework of Reference for Languages describes the level of achievements of learners of foreign languages. This is recognized all over, and they talk about 3 levels. You probably know them. These are A, B, and C. Also, there are 2 levels within each group. For example, if you just started learning language, you don't know anything, absolutely, you are an absolute beginner, a starter. Then you learn alphabet, you know some basic grammar, some words. You can say, London is the capital of Great Britain. Congratulations, you probably will have A1 soon. Then you continue studying. You can cover more topics, you know more words, you can handle some basic grammar, you have basic listening skills, then here you probably have A2 level. Then you can see B1 and B2, even though I prefer to talk about B1, then B1 plus, and B2, which are pre-intermediate, intermediate, and upper intermediate. Why is it more comfortable for teachers? Because that's how we can divide you in more groups and we can identify your progress better. So what's important here? You know more complex grammar structures, you can use them. Let's say in A2 level, you probably know that present perfect exists, but you cannot really use it. You don't understand how it works because we don't have it in Russian. You know the difference between I don't know, future progressive and future simple. So you understand how grammar works, you can use it, you know more words. You see, this is 2,000 plus words. And I'm talking about active, you know in passive even more. Also, you can talk about different topics like hobbies, shopping, traveling, and then you continue studying, and finally, when you have B2, not many people go there, but at this level, you can already interact with natives. You can actually interact with them in B1, B1 plus, even A2 if they are patient enough. But it's not a communication really, because this is where you cannot relax, you cannot you just think about grammar and vocabulary more than about communication and having fun. That's why I say so normal communication starts here. You can watch TV, you can listen to the radio, you can read articles, you can talk about a wide range of topics. C, this is actually the level when you can say, I do speak English or any other language. Because C1, this is the level where you do not translate anymore. You just switch the languages without thinking about the language. You can say everything you want. You can express yourself in this language. And this is the university level. So you can enter, with C1, you can enter Oxford University, probably. And you can study. You can get a nice job, you can live abroad in English-speaking country, you can have profound relationships with native speakers, you can have real friends. I mean, you can have real friends in any level, but the level of understanding will be different. And finally, C2, this is proficiency level. We say English teachers must have this level, it's close to native. But I will tell you that, tell you a secret, not many English teachers have this level. Not many of them even have CUC1, but it's another topic. So now you must think of what is your purpose? What is your goal? Do you need C2 actually in your life? Or probably B2 will be enough. If you're not going to work abroad, you're not going, I don't know, to have get married with someone from this culture, other country. So you define this yourself. This doesn't work? Oh yeah, it works now. How can you understand where you are? I recommend to take an exam. You probably know about these exams, IELTS, TOEFL, Cambridge. They all can show you what your level is. IELTS is, well, they say IELTS is mostly for Australia, TOEFL more for the United States, and Cambridge for Great Britain. But to be honest, they're all kind of the same. And if you want to enter master program at any uni, they will accept everything. Next, the language has very complex nature. And you know that many native speakers, they can speak the language, but probably they cannot read or they cannot write. Or let's think about our Russian scientists who can write articles in English, but they cannot speak. Okay, so what is their level then? Oh, by the way, I didn't tell you that A2 level, what I think, is our normal school level. So people after school, people on the streets, they have, the majority of them have this A2. Some people can speak well because they travel, they're very talkative, but they cannot write. So when we talk about language acquisition, let's remember about this. First, grammar and vocabulary, reading normally. If we talk about the tests, it's about reading too. Then listening, writing, and speaking. I love speaking personally. Some people don't like speaking, they prefer reading. Some people are good at writing. Doesn't matter. But when you are preparing for an exam, you must handle all four. That's when we can say that you mastered this level. All right. Which of many Englishes should I learn? You know that there is Chinese English, Spanglish. Even within English, we have Australian English, Canadian, American, British. So what should I learn? Where should I start? What should I do with all that? Well, first, relax. When you have B1 level, it doesn't matter for you which movie you're going to watch, Canadian, American, or British. Your purpose is to learn things that are common for all Englishes. So focus on grammar, vocabulary, listening skills, and don't think too much about which variant is that. As for accent, sometimes even I ask my students, what do you prefer, American pronunciation, British pronunciation? Because when we have pronunciation lesson, I must teach them how to pronounce door or door, right? Perhaps or perhaps. But I will share my story. For example, I started at school, the books were British, and I thought, okay, I was learning British variant. Then I met all these American friends I have. I traveled abroad several times to the United States. I watched movies, listened to the music, and I got this American accent, which I was very proud of. But then I went to Australia, and I lost my American accent. You can hear that, probably. And I never achieved Aussie one. Like, I have no idea what's Aussie accent, because I've never heard, I heard this. If you go to Darwin or villages, remote villages. But in Sydney, for example, people speak with French accents, Russian accents, Latin American, Spanish accents. And you don't understand how to copy, who you should copy. My husband worked in a company. There was an office, about 20 people. 5 of them were from Latin America, 2 of them from Spain, 3 guys from Iran, 2 guys from Russia. Some people, it was even difficult to say where they were from. And they were doing the same thing. They had a project, they were working on it, They communicated and they were successful. Communication is number one thing when we talk about the languages. So you don't have to sound like an American or like a British. You must be intelligible. Do you know the term intelligible? Intelligible means that they can understand you. You can express your idea and people can understand you. Another example, I was in Barcelona and there was a guy who was learning Spanish, and a teacher corrected him. She said, this way, pronounce this way, pronounce. In the end of the class, he told her, you know what? I don't want to get rid of my French accent because it sounds sexy. And she was like, oh, wow, all right. So many people, they don't want to get rid of their accents because it's something that they like about themselves. Other people like this about themselves. Some people say Russian accent is harsh. Some people say, wow, that's cool. So this is your choice. If you want to be a spy, that's fine. Maybe you can sound like a native, but I don't think this is super important. Next. Is it possible to learn the language by yourself? This question is not simple. Yes and no. I would say yes and no, because first, if you have low level, let's say A1, A2, I would probably say no, you cannot. I mean, you can. We can do everything. But you must be that motivated, that determined. It would be very difficult. But if you have already B1 or B2, then easy. Many years ago, we could say probably no, but now with all these resources, internet, the way we can travel around, I would say yes, you can, but you still need something that you cannot do by yourself, which is practice. Yes, you can learn all the vocabulary. Yes, you can understand grammar. You can even write and listen. You can do everything, but you cannot speak with yourself. Again, you can, but will it be the same situation that real life situation? So every time you learn something, you must practice. You learn something, you must practice. So you need someone to practice with. It can be your another student. It can be a native speaker on the street. It can be your teacher. It can be your Skype teacher. But you must have someone. Also, if you have A1, A2, you need guidance. So you cannot just go to the internet and learn. What? I know many people who do that, but they just get lost. Too much information. They don't know where to start. They don't understand something that they get frustrated and they stop. So you need this guidance, the person who will say, go here, go there, can you show me what, do you understand this, you understand that? Now, my favorite part, questions that drive me crazy. So, is there the best, the fastest method? Oh yes, it exists, but we don't share this with you because we're stingy. People want fast results. They want to come and they want to get results. Yeah, that's fine, but we must understand that magic pill doesn't exist. Language is something that is very complex, and you cannot just sit down, dedicate 24 hours, and then next day you speak English. No, it doesn't work like this. And there are different methods, and each method works for different people. I cannot say this is the best, because this is the best for you, but it's the worst for you. You must look for your way. Yes, but there is no the best and the fastest. At least I don't know. If you know that, let me know. Next, what if I'm not talented? All right, you're maybe not talented, but language is not something that you must be talented for. This is a skill. And look, if you speak your language already, Russian, Spanish, I don't know, it means that you're already talented. It means that you can handle the language. You speak your language, it means you can speak other language. Next, what if I never overcome my language barrier? Some people really have it because they had bad teachers, because they had bad experience, because they're afraid of failure. In some cases, I would recommend to go to psychologists sometimes, but in the majority of cases, just try to overcome it. I mean, try to start from something. You don't have to talk to native speakers because it's a normal situation. They start talking and you don't understand what's happening because this is not something you learned from books or you heard on the radio. Yeah, that's fine, I understand that. But before forcing yourself, before getting some confidence, which can be trained, you cannot move further. So try to find a way which is less stressful for you, and every time try to add more. For example, you can start speaking English with your husband and then try to, I don't know, go to a bar where, native speakers are. Even at this university, there are so many people who speak English, not necessarily Canadians or Australians. You can speak English with people from India, Colombia, who cannot speak cool, super English either. Practice with them. So you can overcome that if you have strategy, if you have a little of confidence. God bless you. And the final one, what if I lose motivation? Many people say, oh, I'm too lazy. Oh, I need a teacher. Oh, I cannot learn the language myself. Well, that's fine, that's true. But in that case, guess what is there? Okay? This is your problem. You want to speak English or you don't. And look, normally, let's get back from here. I don't like this kind of students. I don't teach English anymore, I teach Spanish, and every time I give this kind of test, I ask them, how much time are you willing to dedicate to a language? And if they say, once a week, I say, okay, see you next time. But if a person says, well, it depends, well, what I want, how much you tell me, normally I tell, if you want to progress in a language, you must dedicate at least 15 minutes, and what is important, every day. You cannot just say, all right, this weekend I learn English, I study English, and you spend 6 hours with these books and movies and practicing with the native speakers. And then the whole week you're just doing different things, and then next weekend, all right, I'm ready, but you don't remember anything. So being persistent, being constant, doing this all the time, at least 15, 20 minutes, this helps. And if you cannot have this discipline, then I'm sorry. I'm not the person, you pay me for English class, but not for motivating you or saying, wow, you're great, you can do that. I mean, I can do that, but I'm not that interested. I prefer people who we can develop, we can do it together. We can achieve more together. And I love giving my students maximum, not motivation, coffee, or, all this stuff that I'm not even professional. I'm professional in languages. That's what I want to give. Don't forget that English is something that you probably need and probably not that easy, but it's all in your hands. If you want to do that, just do that and don't look for excuses. Look for resources, teachers, motivation, and I'm pretty sure you will be successful. Thank you so much.